In 2023, Sam Altman made a prediction that seemed insane. The CEO of OpenAI told a room full of investors that soon, maybe by 2026, we'd see something that's never existed in human history. A single person running $1 billion company. Not $1 billion net worth, $1 billion company. One human, 0 employees. And he wasn't alone. Dario Amodei, CEO of Anthropic, put a number on it. 70 to 80% probability by 2026. Now, if you know anything about business, your brain should be screaming that this is impossible. Let me show you why. General Motors at its peak had 600,000 employees. Facebook, when it hit $1 billion in revenue in 2012, had roughly 5,000 people. Even Instagram, the leanest billion-dollar exit in history, had 13 people. So how do you get from 13 to 1? That's what I spent 3 weeks investigating, and what I found is way stranger than I expected. Let's start with the closest anyone has ever come. And I'm not talking about Elon running multiple companies. I mean one person, genuinely solo, generating serious revenue. A developer in Vancouver named Markus Frind launches a dating site called Plenty of Fish. He codes it alone, runs it alone, no employees, no contractors. By 2008, he's generating over $10 million a year in ad revenue from his apartment, working roughly 1 hour a day. 1 hour, $10 million. How? He automated everything. The site ran itself. Users created the content, algorithms did the matching, ad networks handled monetization. His job was basically watch the servers, cash the checks. In 2015, Match Group bought it for $575 million cash. By then, Frind had hired 75 people. But during his peak solo years, the math is insane. $10 million in revenue divided by one person equals $10 million revenue per employee. For context, the average tech company does about $400,000 revenue per employee. Frind was doing 25 times that. Or take Eric Barone. He spent 4 years in his apartment building a farming game called Stardew Valley. Completely solo. Every pixel, every line of code, every music note. 2016, launches on Steam, makes $1 million in the first week. Today, 41 million copies sold. Over $300 million in total revenue. Still essentially a one-person operation, though he now partners with publishers for console ports. $300 million. One person, one game. But here's where it gets interesting. Those examples are old. Markus Frind hit his peak in 2008, before modern AI existed. In 2024, something changed. October 2024, a developer named Mayor Shlomo launches Base 44 as a side project, an AI-powered no-code platform. 6 months later, over 250,000 users, $3.5 million in annual recurring revenue. Team size during this meteoric rise, less than 10 people. June 2025, Wix acquires it for $80 million. In Mayor's early weeks, he was deploying code 13 times per day, using AI coding assistants, shipping faster than teams of 50 could have done 5 years ago. 6 months, 0 to $80 million exit. So the question becomes, if we've gone from $10 million solo in 2008, to $300 million solo with games, to $80 million in 6 months with AI, what's stopping someone from hitting $1 billion? Let's do the math, because this is where it gets weird. There are 4,000 working hours in a year if you work 80-hour weeks, 50 weeks a year. To generate $1 billion in revenue, you need to create $250,000 of value per hour you work. That sounds impossible, but here's the thing. It's not about hours anymore. Traditional company, more revenue means more employees. Linear scaling. Solo company, more revenue means better automation. Exponential scaling. Here's what $1 billion solo company would actually look like. 3 layers. Bottom layer, cloud infrastructure. AWS, Google Cloud. Scales automatically. No human intervention needed. Middle layer, AI agents. This is the workforce. GPT-5 writes the code. Claude handles customer service. Midjourney creates the marketing assets. Autonomous agents that run 24/7. Top layer, you, the founder. Your job isn't to do the work, it's to orchestrate the system. You're not a manager, you're a conductor. But this only works in specific industries. I analyzed where this is most likely to emerge first. Most viable developer tools, SaaS platforms, AI-powered content, proprietary trading. Why? Digital products, near zero marginal cost, automation-friendly, high margins. Possible but hard. Fintech, e-commerce, digital marketplaces, some regulatory burden, but manageable. Essentially impossible. Healthcare, banking, manufacturing, physical products. Why? Regulatory compliance requires human teams. Liability exposure. Physical operations can't be fully automated. The pattern is clear. Pure digital, high automation, low regulation. That's the Goldilocks zone. So who's closest right now? I found 3 contenders. First, Pieter Levels, serial indie hacker, built Nomad List, Remote OK, Photo AI, all solo. Estimated $2 to $3 million annual revenue across his projects. Recently built a flight simulator game in 3 hours using AI that now generates over $75,000 a month. That's $900,000 annualized. Here's the thing, he's not trying to build $1 billion company. He's testing a different theory. Build 100 small ones. If one game makes $900,000 and you can build one every week with AI, that's $100 million in annual revenue. Still not a billion, but closer than anyone's gotten. Second, Nathan Barry. Started ConvertKit as essentially a solo founder. Now does $45 million in annual revenue with a team of 70. But here's why he matters. He proved you could get to $10 million solo. The question is, could he have stayed solo and kept scaling? We'll come back to that. Third, the dark horses. Dario Amodei thinks the first solo billion-dollar company will be a proprietary trader. Someone running AI algorithms that trade autonomously. Why? No customers, no support, no distribution. Just math and capital. The math works. High-frequency trading firms do billions in revenue with tiny teams. A sophisticated enough AI could theoretically do it alone, but no one's confirmed doing this yet. If they are, they're not telling anyone. So here's where we are. Best verified solo revenue is around $10 million annually. The billion-dollar target is 100 times away. 3 things need to happen to close that gap. 1. AI agents need to handle multi-week tasks autonomously. Current AI needs check-ins every few hours. We need systems that can run entire departments for weeks. 2. The right market timing. Every platform shift creates winner-take-most dynamics. Instagram hit $1 billion because it launched right as smartphones exploded. We'd need similar timing. Maybe AR/VR, maybe AI native applications. You can't force this, you have to catch the wave. 3. Someone has to actually want to stay solo at scale. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because here's what I discovered that changed everything. The constraint isn't technical, it's psychological. Remember Markus Frind? He was making $10 million a year, working 1 hour a day, fully automated. He could have stayed solo. Instead, he hired 75 people before selling. Why? He wanted to expand faster. He wanted support. He was lonely. Eric Barone spent 4.5 years alone building Stardew Valley, made hundreds of millions, then partnered with publishers. Not because he had to, because he wanted help. Pattern after pattern. Solo founders who achieve initial success face enormous pressure, internal and external, to build teams. Investors prefer teams. They pattern match on founding teams. Many VCs won't fund solo founders at all. Customers worry. A one-person company feels risky for mission-critical software. Burnout. 63% of solo founders report burnout symptoms. Working 80-hour weeks alone is misery, even if you're profitable. And here's the big one. Most founders hire not because they need to, but because it accelerates growth. Think about it. Let's say you're a solo founder doing $50 million a year. You could probably push to 100 million solo with better AI. But if you hire 10 great people, maybe you hit 500 million in the same time frame. Stay solo, high risk, slower growth, keep 100% ownership. Higher, lower risk, faster growth, share the burden. The math says, even if you could do it solo, you probably shouldn't. And here's the data point that changed my mind about this whole thing. In 2024, 36% of new startups were solo founded, up from just 17% in 2017. The number of solo million-dollar businesses has grown 82% from 2012 to 2021. But when you track these companies over time, almost all of them hire before hitting $50 million. They could stay solo. They choose not to. So here's the answer to the billion-dollar question. Will we see a one-person billion-dollar company? Probably not. Not because it's impossible, but because anyone capable of building one won't want to be alone by the time they get there. Sam Altman and Dario Amodei aren't wrong about the technology. AI absolutely will make it possible for one person to generate $1 billion in value. The infrastructure exists, the tools are coming, but they're making a prediction about technology when the real question is about human nature. We're social creatures. We build companies not just to make money, but to create something with others, to have partners in the struggle, to share the victory. The most likely outcome, by 2027, someone will reach $100 million solo. By 2028, maybe $200 million. They'll prove it's possible. Every news outlet will call them the first solo billionaire in waiting. And then they'll hire a team. Not because they have to, because at a certain point, the thing you're building becomes bigger than what one person should carry alone. The revolution isn't one person to $1 billion. It's 10 people doing what used to take 10,000, and that's already happening.